Hi, it's Kiki and P from Wave of Action UK, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat about things like the anti-austerity march on Saturday that we had in London, and the water cannons tube flash mob that we did that went really well. The People's Assembly, through a it was said that it was a 50,000 strong protest in the middle of London. I'm not sure on the exact numbers. We were there, obviously, but there was so many. It was unbelievable. The BBC hasn't broadcast on this adequately, and basically hasn't been using the taxpayers' license fee appropriately. Otherwise, they would have made an issue of this, exactly of what the issue was. We were on their doorstep for over an hour. There was 10,000-15,000 people on their doorstep for over an hour, and they didn't broadcast. Oh, where's P gone? Are you there? Anyway, we before we did that, we had the meditation. We had David Wright do the meditation in Leicester Square at the fountain, and that was an absolutely amazing event. That was lovely.
Well, we started off at Trafalgar Square, but unfortunately they had the big West End day where they were doing all the songs and things for the West End.
Yeah.
So we moved, but I did get down into Leicester Square, and I was quite up for overtaking the little day and just sitting there.
Yeah.
Here, but we found a nice garden, didn't we?
Yeah, it was lovely. It was so nice, and I think David's bowl had a nice tone to it. It was so peaceful, a lovely little grassy area, and I think we're going to try and move some meditation events to this sort of area, because it was just lovely. It was really nice, and then we are really sorry for not being able to say that Trafalgar was closed off and everything. It's hard to keep track of events at Trafalgar Square.
Well, and it's also hard. You have to understand that, sometimes when you go into London and there's big protests, a lot of people's phone signals tend to get blocked, and they can't get on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's hard to update when it gets like that, and it's hard to know whether that's just coincidence, lots of people in the same area trying to use the mobile at the same time, or if they're actually doing something to jam the feeds getting out.
Yeah, and it's really hard, because we do try and keep people updated on Twitter and Facebook as much as possible, but when you arrive and you're all ready, and then you see that you're not quite sure how to deal with it, we do put it out as much as possible. But we're really sorry to those that felt we haven't organised well or anything like that. We do apologise. We're going to get better in the future.
Well, the thing is, with Trafalgar Square being a meeting place, most weekends they do have something going on. It's just never normally that big.
Yeah, it tends to be a lot of the time. It tends to be a lot of the time when when we have events, they tend to put big events on. Like, that was a huge event. And
it was. I mean, to get in there. I mean, I just walked to the front, but
but we were flashing banners at each other, and neither of us could see each other at one point, and we knew that we were there. So it goes to show how many people were kind of like there and not. We just couldn't find each other for a little time. But we did our flash mob tube ride. That was amazing.
But how long did it take for the police? We literally got up, popped to that little shop opposite, and we noticed them all on the radio. Oh,
yeah. Straight away, as soon as we were sat down in Leicester Square, just a bunch of people with rubber rings and sharks and dolphins and stuff sitting around, mulling around Leicester Square. They're there straight away. As soon as the anonymous masks come out, they're there. What are you doing? It's like, nothing, we're just peaceful protesters. But they left us alone at that point, and to be honest, they were good for the first part of the day, weren't they?
They followed us down to the tube, but their radios don't work on the underground, so they soon left us, didn't they?
Yeah, and they pretty much said, do what you want. They were like, our radios don't work, do what you want. I think they're pretty much. I think they're happy when it's a peaceful protest now. They know that in the UK at the minute, it's lucky that it's a peaceful and or a good affair.
Yeah. And the tube ride was brilliant.
Oh, it's lovely. It was brilliant. We were just singing through the tube, and then all those people joined in the carriages. They actually joined in with us with our songs.
Because I think some of them were travelling to the People's Assembly too, so that really like boosted it.
Yeah. So, it was fantastic.
Inflatables on the escalators and things. It was just good laugh, wasn't it?
I just see nothing but those hands all everywhere. They were just like everywhere. People had them sticking out their hair, in their top straps and stuff. They were just like those hands everywhere. And the inflatables. By the time I got mine home, it was like just dead. It was dead. I think it'd been thrown around so much and played with. But I think all the kids had a great time because so many bubbles were handed out. I think Wave of Action handed out so many bubbles.
Yeah, and we had the big banner that went up. Yeah. And we had plans when we hit the BBC to hit their paedophile statue, didn't we? But the security was far too tight to get anywhere near it.
We managed to get close to the sort of side bit and squidge through the police line, but once we got there, it was so secure, we weren't even getting close that day. There was no way we were...
Oh, okay, gone. We were thinking that maybe we could come back. We'd go in the march and then come back again. But I think that the security would have been pretty tight all day. Is she coming back in? No, let's start her again.
Hello?
Hello, you're back again.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So we decided to hit the side of the building instead with a giant Jim will fix it bash. BBC fixed it for me, which was good laugh.
It was brilliant. It went up really well. That was easier than I actually thought it was going to be. That went up really well, and I think for future planning, that's definitely, we're going to get it up there. We will get it up there.
Yeah,
definitely. It was a fantastic start to the day. But we were stood there for how long, would you say, when we first got there?
Oh, over an hour.
Yeah, definitely. And it just kept building and building, and then slowly we were like, when we first got there, there was about 1,000 at the start, and then somebody else said there was about 1,000 the other side. So it was already at about 2,000-3,000 when we got there.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I've never ever experienced anything so hot.
That's the only thing I would say is that the standing around for over an hour in that heat with no shade was not doing something that, especially the disabled, very good.
The fact that we were standing on the doorstep of the BBC for that hour.
And yeah, and they did nothing.
No, absolutely nothing. But they've been questioning on it. I know there's 3 different petitions. There's change.org, 38 degrees, and I can't remember the other one. I think her name's Emma or Emmy or something. They're all 3 doing, they want answers as to why the BBC has not appropriately reported on that. And I think we'll see that's 50,000, if that is the number, because I don't know, I've heard 15 and 50, I'm not sure. But if that's the number, that's 50,000 people that now know the BBC do not tell the truth, and that they have decided not to report on a serious issue.
At the Conservative conference, where they estimated 70 to 100, you know, and they didn't report that, and that they don't report any protests. And the thing that they should have been reporting about, even if not about the numbers, they should have been reporting about how a relatively new group, you've got to think that the People's Assembly is not that old, and they had managed to do so much in so little time because they managed to get 50,000 people out, if that was the figure. You know, they have, you know, that is news. That it wasn't a union. It wasn't.
When you think about, you had Caroline Lucas, and there was other. She's the Green Party, isn't she? That has supported this, and we've got to the point now where we've got unions, parties, all of this coming together. You've got the unions are turning into almost like an activist sect now. They're having to. They've got no option, and now you've got the Green Party that's turned into an
miners and things like that. The unions always have had the activists in them.
Yeah, they have. They have.
It's just been more control than maybe like a direct action group.
And I think that's helped, because what it was, the lack of coverage, I think, on events, because a lot of strikes have had a lack of coverage. A lot of with the amount of who actually voted Greens, and the rising Greens that were voted on the local elections and things like that, that wasn't reported. It was constantly stuff about UKIP and things like that. It hasn't even focused on the rise in the political and union power that is coming onto the side of activism, because we're not being listened to. That's why we're growing.
That's the problem with the whole political system, really, though, isn't it? It's that they think that this is something they can fix. This discontent with politics, they think that this is something that they can sweep under the carpet, push to one side, throw some more snide tricks into it, and we'll just buy it like we always have done. But this time it's different. This time
we know the whole system, the monetary, political system, it's broken.
Syria, 5 years ago, we'd have been, or 10 years ago, we'd have been a lot more likely to go behind the government and back them in their initial propaganda. But now we was just like, fuck off.
Yeah, that's it.
Before, we ain't buying it. And it didn't matter what they said, what horrendous picture they brought out. We were still like, no, we're not buying it this time. And that's the thing that scares them, is that they really don't know, they don't get that there's no going back. You can't go back from the change of opinion.
This has gone too far now.
You can't. We know that you've been milking us for years, and now it's real change that we want.
And I think it's a bit of a cheap shot to say also, I've noticed a few people have been saying that Russell Brand, look, all the sheep. No, we did not go to that march for Russell Brand. That was simply just, it was a great thing that he actually turned up and supported what he initially has been putting out for a couple of years.
I'm annoyed by the whole Russell Brand thing. Yeah, he come out and he spoke, very good of him. So did Caroline Lucas, so did Owen Jones, and so did other people. But lots of people marched. And the only thing that I've seen in any paper or news report is about Russell Brand. I know you need he's, at least with him, we got some publicity. We'd have got none without him by the looks of things. But that is state of affairs. That is really sad. That we need.
It is. But I think it's a real it's a disillusion to think that 50,000 people turned up to an anti-austerity demo to march for nearly 3 hours to see Russell Brand for 20 minutes. That's not the reason why people went out, and it's not. I don't think it's fair to say that at all. And it was, like you said, it was great that they came out. It was fantastic, but in a way, all it's done is stirred up people. Oh, Russell Brand, he's part of the Illuminati. At the end of the day, he came out and he spoke. Caroline Lucas came out and she spoke. Owen Jones came out and they spoke. They didn't come out and speak just to please, just to please people, because they're going against the grain. They're going against the mainstream. They're not going to earn nothing from doing what they just did on Saturday.
No. But it's like, I also heard somebody say that about us moaning about the BBC, that we're not there to get publicity and ego fed on the BBC. But, we're all converted there. Those of us that are marching all know the issues and know the problems. And, sometimes we talk to others and we'll hear new thoughts, new ideas, new problems. But across the board, we tend to know them all. So
yeah,
try and get on the news and reach out to other people, the people that are thinking that they would like to get out, but they don't think anyone else is.
They kind of what they've done is in the same verse as the like, have you seen the new scratch and sniff cannabis cards that police have put out to raise awareness to the smell of cannabis? Well, the BBC could have done a bit of a better job to raise awareness of 50,000 people pissed off with everything from NHS to low wages to teachers to Michael Gove's evil bringing up of using guinea pigs, you know, children as guinea pigs for his education system. That's what people are out for. That's what raising awareness is about, not stupid little scratch cards to go, scratch and sniff on your neighbour. It's like, no, we want actual awareness of real issues. I don't care if my neighbour's smoking pot. I'll go round and borrow a joint. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing, they know that cannabis is going to be legalised at some point, because there's no stopping it. We're awake. The people are awake. We are going to get results at some point. What is the point in wasting our taxpayers' money in setting up a system to send out, you know, all this awareness when they can't even put out a broadcast to raise awareness on hundreds of issues in the UK?
But then that just shows the power, really, because the government will...
You're breaking up. Hello?
They're just scared. And that's, you know, real journalism used to be where... Yeah. I said they're just scared. I said real journalists used to be where they'd actually take a risk.
Yeah.
You know, they'd go undercover and you know, they'd get the nitty gritty and they'd make investigative journalism. But now it's just like celebrity bullshit, babies walking, people gonna open some, you know.
Yeah.
It really good.
Yeah, it's just constant propaganda for the masses. And see, people sit there and say, well, you don't want media attention. Well, hang on, this is constant propaganda for the masses. Yes, we do need media attention, because our whole goal is to awake the masses. Without awaking people and letting them know that the serious issues that are going on are as important as they are, then we're not going to wake people up. So that's why the media is important. It's very important.
And there is a lot of people that feel the same as we do, that are quite isolated by society. They don't feel like they quite fit in, and they don't have a lot of friends that they can talk to, and it just...
Yeah. Break. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, you're back again. Yeah, I didn't hear that last bit, but
I said anyway, you can't hear me, that's what I said.
Yeah, no, I couldn't hear you, no. But I think with the what's going to happen with the march now, what I'd like to know is this going to make people feel that protesting isn't as effective as it could be, and to move on to something else and something different, which to be honest, that's what Wave of Action wants to do. We want to do quirky things, we want to do flash mobs and things that will make people actually pay attention and see things without a media coverage and things like that, but you know, step onto something a little bit more adventurous rather than just walking down the street, because I think Saturday showed that unless something had actually happened that day, nothing would have been reported. And that same day, there was an anti, there was a, I can't remember what it was, there was a racist attack.
The BBC was too busy covering a bigger protest at a theatre where 15 staff walked out. That's what they were doing.
Oh, it's just absolutely amazing. You literally in Tottenham on that same day you had a clash of anti-fascists and fascists in Tottenham, and they didn't even report on that, where it actually got to a stage where a slight small amount of it looked a little bit like Ukraine, the beginning of Ukraine, and I'm thinking the BBC have got their priorities completely mixed up. What were they? It was that thingy Colin, I don't know his name. They were reporting on the hacking scandal. They were they were reporting on Iraq, obviously being in a situation that apparently that was more important than the anti-austerity march, considering we were holding placards saying no war in Iraq. What are you smiling
Him being a normal.
at? We're broadcasting here.
Yeah, we're broadcasting here.
Sorry. I'm upstairs.
Do that.
You do that. I think that, you know, we sent a letter to the people, an email to the People's Assembly and to the union some time ago, trying to unite everybody and things like that. And I think that, to be honest, the People's Assembly has done that. And I don't think that that's something we should continue trying to do, because it would be ego. It would be that we would want to be the ones that do that. They've already done that, and to a certain extent, with the protesting and things, I think that we could maybe.
Yeah, I think we need to support them.
Protests and support the bigger protests, because too much walking down the street just desensitizes everyone who sees it, don't they? They come on, they're out again this week. So you don't need. I mean, you've got the Million Mass March. You've got the one we've just had. There will be a couple of others throughout the year, and I think 4 to 6 big marches throughout the year is plenty.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe the better thing to do is, like we were saying, is
jump off your hill and start building a mountain. Because your ant hills aren't as important as they seem to be, protecting. But also at the same time, these big marches do need to get their act together as well. There are a few irks that people have brought up. There was one with the DPAC and the disability wanted to speak on stage, and they were I do believe they were told quite abruptly to fund their own ramp to get on stage. So these marches still need to get into order, a way for everybody to have their voice, and I think they need help from these people. And maybe possibly now, if they've made a mistake like that, they need to go to somebody at DPAC or the Atos kind of thing, and ask them what they recommend on how to make these marches more disability friendly, or to make these occasions, to build what they've already got, because to piss people off at this stage is not good. And the disability is a massive part of this movement we've got at the minute. They have been truly, the vulnerable have been truly shot down, and they are a massive part of it, and they need to sort that one out.
To a certain extent, the People's Assembly is the People's Assembly. It is made up of the people across the country. So if you have an issue with, like, disability and things, the best things you can do is join the People's Assembly and raise the issue and push for to be instead of staying in your own group and saying, oh, well, they did this, that, and the other. You've got to join and you've got to push for change.
Yeah.
You've got. If you want people to sympathise with your situation, the best thing you can do is show them your situation.
Yeah, definitely. Totally believe that one. Yeah.
I
think things like that, they should always be broached and discussed all the time, because obviously, when you've got it affecting a major movement in itself, it's important to keep note of these things, and I think they will at the next one. I don't doubt for a second they won't iron this issue out, and more aware of the situation on this.
But as it grows, they'll get, it's a learning curve, isn't it? They're still learning, and funds and things like that, they've all got to, be taken into consideration. Maybe they weren't the best tactfully in the way that they put it across.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
they can work on that.
Yeah,
but
exactly. We've all got things to work on. We've all got things to work on when it comes to this movement. We're all learning, we're all adapting, we're all changing. Hello?
I'd like less speeches. I'd like less speeches.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
More music, less speeches.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't mean that
because
I know we're not
occasions
a party, but there's plenty of political artists that you could use. There's plenty, it doesn't have to be, there's folk that do political, and there's rap, there's all sorts, it could be anything across the board. It's still putting a message across, but, some of these speeches, you ain't telling us anything we don't know.
Well, there's a rap group that came to a few of our marches not long back, Philly and Dots, and they actually film all of their music videos at events and things like that. And I think it's a great occasion for people like them to be given the opportunity to stand up and actually do it live at sort of occasions like this. These are people, their new album, Fuck the Government. Do you know what I mean? They're perfect for this kind of thing. And like you said, there is information everywhere. Speeches are great. I think speeches are important to a certain degree. And yeah, have a couple of speeches. But if you've got so many going on, and that we know this, we already know this. And if you're trying to relate to people outside, well, that didn't happen because the cameras weren't there. There was not enough live coverage of everything going, like I said, to the BBC, ITV, things like that. They needed to broadcast it more, and you could not hear it past the green space. Not really. No. So a lot of passers-by who this information would have been more appropriate for, because I've heard it all before, it was missed. That's not what it was going. But if you've got a music event, these marches are becoming more of a place where people can bond, get together, protest, show their their issues and things together. They're never going to, unless a riot was to break out. These are not going to change things in terms of immediate change in any way. And I think music, like you said, give the people something fun to do, give the people something good to do while they're there.
I mean, I get that, I can't even, Owen Jones, whatever his name is, he probably wants to make the next Martin Luther King speech, but I can't see it happening just yet, right? So why not try and get the next Carlin up there, the next political comedian, somebody who's got real political bite to him, someone that we can listen to and be inspired to for comedy.
Times have changed, and the days of having a Madonna, a Michael Jackson, like you said, a Martin Luther King, anyone who is famous for more than 5 minutes, who isn't in the spotlight, are over. They just seem to be over, because these days they have to be in the spotlight 24/7, doing whatever they do to constantly be in that position. I think those days ended possibly in the 90s, I think.
Yeah. It's I mean, I do like listening to a bit of them, and I like, but
it's like a cake, you can't eat a whole one.
Yeah, you can't hear it the whole time. You're straining, and you get up and then you get in people's way, and really you just want to sit down and chill because it's hot.
You've just been marching for 2 hours. Yeah.
Lazy activists over here.
Yeah. And I think the coaches went quite early. Possibly a 7-8 o'clock leave would have been better, because as soon as the coaches went, everyone dispersed. And I think it would have been nice that once the speeches were over, that people could have been having a chance to mingle.
Yeah.
But they kind of didn't. It was kind of speeches over, 2 songs, get on the coach and go.
Yeah.
there's got to be a bit of, we need to mingle, because during the march you can't really mingle neither.
No. I mean, the thing that it's lovely, but it's also sad, is that we don't know what everybody's experience was at the People's Assembly, and we all had different experience, and we all missed stuff. I'd like to have seen it all.
Yeah.
Been there in all of it, because it was some good fun.
Yeah.
But that
Definitely.
brings our fuel for democracy, really, and our few changes of plans there.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, the People's Assembly, it was great. I think that was a really good time when we were sat on the grass chatting. That was the best part for me at the end, when we were sat there chatting. And
Boris inflatable over that statue.
yeah, we were having a great time, apart from the humans being hurt by inflatables as they were passing by.
You.
And the small young children who were copying the same moves. But I think everyone was having a great time. I think they really were. And it kind of was slightly like the anti-corruption march in February, Mitch's march, where to be honest, that's possibly the one which I had the best atmosphere. I've never been to a march with such a nice atmosphere, and that was close to it. But if they'd have allowed it to prolong a little bit longer with, less speeches, like you said, more music, more time to mingle and chit chat. And
but I guess that, to a certain extent, that a lot of the people were there to promote their selves. That's why there were speeches.
very much so, because I think I did turn down every single leaflet that was there, but only because, like I said, I've been online chatting to these guys for the last few years. I know everything they've got to say. We know that already, and I'm kind of sick of having leaflets. And I do like information. I think information is great for people who are not aware. But also, can we start thinking about like the impact it's having on, like, ecologically, with the amount of leaflets that are handing out?
About the ecological things, I'll say this because I've seen it at a few protests now, right? We were one of the last to leave at the People's Assembly.
Yeah.
I was disgusted, considering these
Yeah.
are going around chanting about fracking and saving the environment, the amount of bloody rubbish they left, right? Because we didn't leave one spot. We cleaned our spot, and we probably cleaned up other people's rubbish as well. And that is what loving and caring for your planet is. It's not, going there and acting like a lob and just throwing your rubbish on the floor for somebody else to pick up. Because there was there out the goodness of their art and volunteers.
No, it sounds horrible, but a lot of the rubbish were the leaflets that were handed out. And these people have got to understand, hand them out to passers-by. Hand them out to the people that need them. Stop handing them out in the crowd, because we get it all the time. Every demo you go on, you seem to get, we know that's happening. I mean, the majority of people at those marches know. That's what we've got the placards for in the first place. And if you've got information, have your Twitter handle or your Facebook page on your board, so that people can, I don't know, possibly take down or note.
Our web address, and that was on the banner.
Yeah, and I think that gives people the chance, if they choose to find out more information about your subject, that's fine. But if you're handing out all these leaflets, right, there is no point in me buying ecological bog roll made of bamboo and recycled tissue if you're just going to hand out thousands of leaflets that are just going to be thrown in the rubbish later on that day. Try and do a bit more online, which you already do anyway, but think of like the impact it's having on the environment as well, and also the people you're handing it to. Like I said, it's almost like a lost cause sometimes. There's no need for it.
And you could be creative, because you could get like whistles or something with your logo on.
Yeah.
I know it's not got all the horrible things on it, but they'll probably keep it to make noise, and then they'll probably look up to see what it's all about and why you gave it up. I mean, we get bubbles, didn't we, with hashtag kids and things like that. And that, we know what it's like going marching with kids. They get bored.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Things like that, especially on the long coach journeys or anything like that, just anything to keep them occupied all day long.
Yeah, but I think that's a good subject to touch on, because like you said, it looked like a bit of a minefield by the time we were sort of leaving, where people had just got up and left all their crap. And I really, really do expect more of activists.
I do.
Common person. I have to admit.
Drink bottles all over a field and you left over sandwiches and things like that.
Yeah.
And even worse, the people who bagged it up and left you bag, you're that bone-ass lazy to pick your bag of rubbish up and put it in a bin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think a few times Chris Morgan walked around with a plastic bag picking up other people's rubbish. He was walking around like the local bin cleaner.
Well, I think that's part of the problem, is that people start to we're all
Yeah. Sorry.
They all think we're hoodlums anyway.
Yeah, we don't have to prove them right.
Feed that thing of us, and part of caring for the planet is not littering. You know, caring about the world is not leaving it in a shit state where you've been. You know, wherever you go, you try not to leave your mark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not leaving that footprint, isn't it? Which we definitely did after the anti-austerity. I don't know whether it was cleared up, but we were kind of one of the few last ones to leave. So I'm not sure how that kind of went, but we did do as much as we possibly could. So, is there anything else that we need to touch on tonight?
Yeah, the funeral.
Oh yeah, the funeral. We've moved that to September now.
Yeah, the reason being that we couldn't see much happening with the global one, and also we've got the Tories conference in September in Birmingham. Now we've scouted around and and we can't find anything going on. Now we've changing up. Well, we're in the process. We haven't done all the dates yet. Of switching our march to them, but we're not competing with anything that unions might lay on. Whatever plans we have, we'll adapt to make sure.
We will complement them.
Because then what we thought is, if we go this route, we can guarantee those who come out and support us, Wave of Action, will be guaranteed a big march, because there is always a big march to the Tory conference. You know, the unions always make a stance against them. So we'll join them, or they'll join our route, whatever way it pans out. But it will guarantee that those that come with us, like on last Saturday, we did a few things that were fun, and then we joined a big protest, and everybody, you know, had a good time. Because I'm quite conscious of those of us that go out protesting, that we do get good numbers and we do have a good time.
I would rather. I know that people would rather concentrate, and I believe that people would rather. That's why a lot of marches aren't being had, because there's so many little splinter cells and little splinter groups going off. You're unsure these days whether it's going to be a big one. So I think the reason why we did it is so that we could guarantee it's going to be a big one, no matter what. Whether you join us first or not, there'll be a big one there, and obviously, as we mentioned before, we want to meet the occasion. You know, it's a funeral for the death of democracy, the death of public services, and cuts and things like that.
Yeah, so we hope that will go well, but you know, we are a bit conscious about swapping and swapping dates. You know, it is better that we go out in a big. If somebody's making the effort to come out in the street, it's better that the effort is something that's going to make a bit of a difference.
Yeah, and we do sort of want people to roll with the theme of like the black. And we handed an invitation to one of the black bloc on Saturday, and we were like, "We'd like you to wear black," and he was like, "Yeah, that's not a problem." Like, yeah, great. So we sort of like want the black and any freaky little strange themes. Like, we're going as ravens, and that we're going to have pallbearers and coffins, and we want all that kind of thing brought. But you know, bring all sorts like that, and we'll just make it a real freakishly kind of New Orleans jazzy kind of march. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we've got a good route mapped out. The route starts up at the university, goes past the bull ring, and it goes. We found a grassy area for a rally.
Yep.
Right to the conference. You know, there's not many about around there.
No.
I need to scout one out. So hopefully that, you know, that'll go really well. And then we've got we were going to do we thought it'd be a good idea, as the BBC never report anything we want, and as the BBC, you know, likes to push news under the carpet, that we'd make a statement on their flagship day of Children in Need, where we decided we were going to occupy Children in Need in November. That'll be after the Million Mass March.
Yeah.
So, you know, we really hope people get behind that as well.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Serious issue.
It is a serious issue, and we've got some plans there, you know.
Yeah, you want to be there for that. We can't lose. It's a secret.
Then there's Mitch is having a camp out, isn't he?
23rd of August, but I'm doing my one in Peterborough, which is there's already a good number that's saying they're coming out to that one. So I'm going to be camping in Peterborough City Centre on the 23rd of August if anyone wants to join that one. And Mitch is doing I think it's global, to be honest, and I know that a few American, USA sort of states have taken it on and they're wanting to do it as well. And I reckon we can make this big, a bunch of happy campers out on the 23rd of August all over the world, UK, everywhere. Are you going to be doing one in Oxford?
Yeah, probably. I've just got to wait on our holiday date, but maybe I'll have to do it on the beach where.
Yeah. Well, it's camping.
It's camping.
It's camping.
Clamping.
Just don't pay for it. No. I think it'll be a good one. I can't wait, because I do think this one I'd like to set up a tent where people can come and get the information, like an information tent, and there'll be proper tents and things on the side. I'm not sure whether in Peterborough, whether we're going to choose to do it on the embankment in a family kind of environment, because lots of people are deciding to bring kids to the one in Peterborough, but it seems to have clicked on pretty quick, and we hope everyone, if you go on this, it's Camp for Change, August the 23rd. Be there or be square.
And we said about what comes out of protesting, and you know, I do think that you'd be much better off doing something funny and sticking it on YouTube and not instead of, as well as protesting. And I think that getting local is the main thing that we all need to do. We need, because as times go on and cuts get stronger and the cost of living go up more and more, fewer of us are going to be able to afford that travel. And at least in every city, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've been attempting to go as local as I possibly can. I think you have as well. And do you know what I like? I like the fact at the minute I've noticed that I think I had a couple of Labour and Tory and Lib Dems come around, and they're all suited and booted and all, yeah, you need to come to it. And we've got the Greens all in their combats, and they're at our local youth centre, and they're setting up a Peterborough Locals Greens. I'm too old for it, apparently. But they're setting up these sort of things, and you've noticed that these groups are all turning more activist, and they're getting involved. And I know they're doing a festival, I don't know when it is, and you've got the Peterborough Kiddies handy thingy. I'm not sure what they are. They're like a little dance studio place, and they're being really proactive and really different, and they're becoming more activist as well, like a little youth group. And I've noticed a lot more popping up in areas, especially since Sure Start centres have shut and help groups and support centres have shut. You've got the Autistic Society that are probably veering more onto the side of activism now, because they're not getting the help that they need.
But Sure Start, destroyed the children's service.
Yes.
I know that people rely on them, but the grassroots children's services, like the mother and toddlers, that were run by parents, grew up, the next lot of parents just took over, and you know, you nursery, like going in and out of the nursery and things like that. That got killed off, you know, because all these Sure Start centres are taking them over, and they have better facilities and things like that.
But
and a lot
see,
of
that's what they've took
you know,
over.
Community
they've
spirit, from my opinion.
Yeah, oh, it definitely is, but it also, what it's done though when they've shut them, because the people that had the drop-in centres, like you said, the community-run ones, they then had to use Sure Start as their only option for anything, but then they've gone and closed them as well now. So what they've done is completely cut back on community services so that people in the community can't get together. But what they've done is they've made people get together personally, which is far more worse on their behalf, I can tell you that. You don't want a bunch of young the mums running around with kids with ASLs and ASDs being non-assessed. They're at breaking point, they're all at breaking point, and they've now got nowhere to go apart from activism. It's the only, it's all we've got left, is to fight for what we're losing.
The thing is, I ran a youth club for years, you know, I set it up and ran it for years, and, you know, it's very hard to compete against these big ones that have all the funding from the council, whereas the schools, I mean, church ones are never a problem funded, you know, but if you don't want you to be surrounded by educators in a youth group, and it also, youth clubs may be in poor.
You've broken up, I can't hear you.
Sort of funding so that you can continue to run. So in a way, they do get strong though, because they get used to having to stand up all the time. And you know, you only have to see when the Sure Start centres were closing, all the mums and that went out to save them. You know that they are.
I can't hear you. You froze.
Closure of children.
I can't hear you at all.
You're back.
Oh, I heard I'm back. Do we? Wait, is it a sign? I think we'd better cut this one short before it turns into a breaking up thing. I think you've gone again. Hello? P? I can't hear you, so I'm going to say goodbye. I don't know if you are too, and thank you, and I'll chat to you in about 5 minutes off air. Bye.